Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Build Value by Choice. I'm your host, Nana Bonsu, President and CEO of Infinite Horizons Incorporated. We offer a unique system and methodology that helps businesses stay competitive in any environment. Our products and services are designed to help business owners grow and scale their business more efficiently while maintaining control of their operations. You may contact us at www.infhorizons.com and book an appointment with us to learn more about how we might be able to help you. Also, please don't forget to subscribe, share, leave us a rating or review on your app or on our YouTube channel. Finally, we are delivering a free webinar on the 3 evergreen secrets you need to be able to increase the value of your business without succumbing to the market changes. You may go to https://bizvaluegrowth-webinar. And this link is also going to be in the show notes, so you can get it there as well. I promise you don't want to miss it. Now on to today's guest. Our guest today is Rhett Acelar. Rhett is the owner and CEO of Historic Prints. It's an e-commerce company that's located in Portland, Oregon. Welcome to the show, Rhett.
Hey, Nana. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. First off, what made you decide to start Historic Prints?
Well, I've been in e-commerce since 2010. And a friend of mine introduced me to another friend of his who has been in e-commerce for about the same time that I have. And at that time it was rare to see people who have been in e-commerce that long, because in 2015, I mean, that was, it's still at the rate that e-commerce has grown, at that time, it was still pretty new, relatively speaking. And so I met this guy who sold old reproductions of old maps and photographs online, and he said he was looking to sell. So I was looking to add another company to my portfolio to diversify my my business. And so we negotiated, and I made an offer to purchase his company because he was looking to sell. Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's great. So you've been on both sides of the fence, both buying and selling the business.
Yes.
And how has the company changed over the years, if I may ask?
Well, it was well, that's a good question, because at that time it wasn't very optimized and the branding wasn't great. So I knew that there was a lot of room for growth. So I had put it on the back burner for about 5 years. So I was running, and it was just going through ups and downs. And then actually over time, and as with any business, without, proper maintenance and checking under the hood, you'll see your business start to deteriorate a little bit. So I was seeing the sales deteriorate, and I'm like, okay, I should probably do something here. I knew that there was potential. So I went through a complete rebranding and then optimization of the business. And so I had rebranded to the name Historic Prints, and I got the domain, and I paid a pretty penny for that domain name because I thought it was amazing. And then I went through my top selling products, and that was maps over the photographs. And then I knew that there was a lot more room for improvement. So I took my top selling maps at that time, and I did some additional restoration enhancements to them to make them to remove some blemishes, to remove stamps. Sometimes there would be separations because they would come out of they were digitally scanned out of from an old book, and then we would stitch them together and then format them to fit popular frame sizes. And then I optimized the title for e-commerce, for the e-commerce marketplaces, and worked on listing images, bullet points, descriptions, hired a copywriter. And then and then did advertising. And to make a long story short, it took off. And I completely then, after that being on the back burner, I moved that to the front, gave it more attention, and it's been the main company that I've been focusing on now, and I love it. I mean, I've always I bought the company, and I didn't mention, but I do have a love for art and history, and this just merged the two, and it was a great fit for me.
Oh, that's the best kind when you
Yeah.
mix, passion with business. So you can't beat that. So yeah, so no, that's a great story. And yeah, I mean, and by the way, I mean, Red and I actually met when we were trying to try to dabble into writing a book on things that we're really passionate about. And so Red, if you don't mind, I wanted to pivot to talk about something that is another thing that's also close to your heart, and that is switching off of technology,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And so in line with that, I found this article because after you and I spoke, it's almost like when you're looking for a red car, all of a sudden you start seeing red cars. So after you and I, I got to learn about, about what you were trying to do and what, how passionate you were about it. I found this article written by The Guardian just last month, actually. And it had a title, "Is Your Smartphone Ruining Your Memory? The Rise of Global Amnesia." And then one of the subheader, or one of the things that they had, key takeaways that they had right at the top was, "I can't remember anything." It's a common complaint these days. But is it because we rely so heavily on our smartphones, and do the endless alerts and distractions stop us from forming new memories? So I want to throw that to you. What made this topic become so close to your heart?
Well, I gotta say, I'm not a psychologist, and I don't know much about the research behind memory, memory loss, and or acquisition or diminishing a memory. But what I can say about technology is that they have pros and cons. All of them. But for me, smartphones became a con when the utility of the productivity, the pros of the productivity, started to become outweighed by the negatives, and that was, yes, distractions, things like, well, distracting from, I guess the number one reason is distracting me from my own child, not being able to be there present. I feel like, I remember, Nana, like the time that I kind of hit the tipping point where I felt like that my iPhone was just something that I didn't need in the forefront, like in my life as a tool. They're always in my life, is when I'm laying, with my son, and we're just both laying on the bed. We're just kind of like, winding up for the day, and my son is with me. I was actually a full-time father. Well, yes, at that time I was a full-time father, still with the business. But I gave him an iPhone to help keep him entertained. We're both on it, but I'm having a headache because I'm on it so long. But that was my day. I was like, what are we doing? This is I was getting a headache from it. I just I don't know, something just hit me that night, and I just decided that I was going to get rid of my iPhone. I guess we can dive a little bit more deeper into that, of like all the other reasons, but I remember specifically when, and a lot, I think the main part was my son. Do I want him to see me growing up? Do I want to set that example of him seeing me on that phone, all the time? And I didn't. So yeah, that's when I felt like, it was the realization of the way I was setting example for my son, and the way I really put the iPhone or the smartphone as a major part of my life. It didn't sit well with me anymore, if that makes sense. And
Yeah,
we
no,
can kind
no.
of dive in there a little bit more if you
Yeah,
have any
yeah,
questions about that.
definitely want to dive in there a little more, because one of the things that, and the reason why I want to dive in there more is, for a lot of people, disconnecting may be difficult, but if they can think about the impact,
Mhm.
right, that was having for you was real, in the eyes of your son. And so it's not even like, some kind of intellectual thing. This was actually an emotional kind of thing, right? You wanted to be able to spend good quality time with your son. You wanted to be able to, be a good role model, set a good example. You wanted to be able to actually live in the moment with your child and to
Yes.
provide him a good example. So could you talk about what the benefits have been since you did that? I mean, just from that point on forward. I mean, your journey, you basically kind of hit rock bottom at that particular moment with the
Right.
headache and this.
I
Yeah.
felt like I hit rock bottom. I did have that feeling. That's a great way to describe it, because I felt rock bottom in my relationship with my smartphone, um, technology. And so what I did was, I within a week, I went to my carrier store and I said, show me the dumbest phone you have. And they said, there it is. And it was this flip phone. I said, I'll take it, disconnect my iPhone, and connect my flip phone. And I just remember walking out of that store feeling so free.
Mhm.
I wiped my iPhone. I did a reset. I did do a backup. So, I did do a backup just in case. Nana. Okay. Like, I'm like,
Right.
okay, just in case this wouldn't work for me, I did backup, to the iCloud. But I remember walking out feeling so free. And we walked from downtown Portland. And I just remember, spending like, me and my son was with me. I don't know if I mentioned that. And we were just walking around downtown Portland and just taking it all in. And so being present in the moment, rather than, when you're bored, for lots of reasons. I mean, again, the technology was great. I mean, there's so many things about a smartphone that you can pull up, the weather, the news, navigation. I mean, it's endless. I mean, the phone, of course, among like, and hundreds of other, apps that provide conveniences. But, with all those apps, you're just bound to like keep picking it up for one reason or another. And now I had none of that. And I just had to be there present, in the moment. And it was just, it felt amazing. Yeah. And I'm coming up on 3 years since that
Wow.
day.
That's congratulations. It's like quit an alcohol. Did you go through any kind of withdrawals?
Yes. And I did. So so can I, and let me, let me talk about that real quick, because again, I didn't smash my iPhone with a hammer. I still had it. There are certain apps that I did need. For instance, like I need to get into some of my, two-step authentication. You familiar with that?
Yeah.
Well, there's like, you can use an authenticator app to get on, to log into some of your, to log into software. And there are other ways around it. You could have a set text message sent. But to make a long story short, I needed that. So I did keep my iPhone, and after I reset it, I was intentional about the apps that I brought back onto my iPhone. So let me say that it's not completely gone. However, the only way I access my now it's a smart device, not a smartphone anymore, because this is not a phone anymore. This is just a small computer, is through Wi-Fi. And now I'm very intentional about the apps that I bring, and I do a constant cleanup when I feel that, so that I can get rid of apps that don't matter to me, or I no longer need. But this is what I carry around. I have a flip phone, and what I could do is I can, the magic of separating the two. This is key. I mean, we need to break the. When Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone, I believe it was in 2006, he said it was it was after the iPod that was hugely successful for music, and he showed this device, and he said, and the killer app is that is the phone. And you know what? It was the killer app. It was killing people, and it was killing me. So I had to kill that killer app and separate it. And now if I go out, I'm just, I'm not taking, many times I'm not taking this with me, if I need to. So when I was starting to tell, in that first week, I'd tell my wife that I was going to get rid of my iPhone, and I was telling other family members and some people I did business with, I'm getting rid of my iPhone. They're like, how am I going to reach you? How am I going to reach you? Like, what, I'm like, well, first of all, in case of emergency, call 911. Okay. Call 911 if it's an emergency.
Right.
If you need to reach me, I have a phone number. You can call my phone and I'll answer. You'll actually talk to me. But don't text, because it's hard to text. You got to press 2-3 times to get to a C. It's hard to text. So anyhow, I thought that was it just blew people's minds, and they are like, how am I going to call him? I'm like, I still have a phone. Don't worry. You can call me if you need anything, and I'll call you. If I need to speak to you. But yeah, I mean, my iPhone is no longer an iPhone. It's now just a computer. And so Nana, it's changed my life. And and I thought, okay, maybe after a year I'll come back. People said after a year you'll come back, or you'll, we'll see how long that lasts. Well, it's coming up on 3 years, and I love it.
You're stuck with it. So one of the things that I'm sure people, and obviously this did not affect you. I mean, because you're a grown man and you're not affected by peer pressure. But a lot of people may have that kind of difficulty with the fact that they're holding on to a quote unquote stone age phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel about being in modern society, and even though this phone is only about mid 2000s,
Yeah.
how do you
let me tell you something.
Deal with that?
I feel like I've made it. That I have the ability to go to a flip phone, to a dumb phone, that I have. And here's the other thing. I'm in control. We talk, and I feel freedom. So I didn't go back to the Stone Age. I traded up, and this is communication on my terms. I do remember, when I got a text message, I felt that people knew that they're like, okay, he got my text, he's got to respond, or else he's being an a-hole, or he's just ignoring me, being rude or whatever, so I felt like this obligation to respond to people quickly, and that's not being in control. Other people are now. I didn't feel control. I felt now things were out of my control with all of the communication at hand. Now I have an excuse when I don't text people back. I'm like, sorry, I just can't text you. You're going to have to just call me. And if I
Right.
don't answer, leave a message. So now, not freedom.
Freedom.
This is what I get. This is what I get. And because I get, because that's what we want, right?
No, absolutely. That's the
we
highest
want
aspiration. Yeah.
we want freedom. And communication on my terms.
Hmm.
On my terms. And hey, I have talked to people. First of all, this is not for everyone, right? This is not for everyone. And people, when I tell people that I don't have an iPhone or a smartphone, they're like, oh man, I wish I could do that. I could never do that. Well, one, I know that people can. Again, it's not for everyone, but there has to be boundaries that we set also in life. And I believe there has to be digital boundaries as well. We happen, especially as entrepreneurs, right? Entrepreneurs, we constantly want to, we're constantly thinking about our business, about, constantly, and we want to keep working, but, we can burn ourselves out. I've been there. I've reached burnout before. And if you don't set boundaries for yourself, you'll burn out, and then you're no good for anyone. You're no good for, yourself, your company, your family, your customers, your suppliers, vendors. I mean, so I have to set my boundaries, and I know my limits, and I work hard. I wake up early in the morning. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I do finish most of my days early. Because because I've been able to set my business up to the point, which is, I know, something that you coach, right, Nana?
Yeah,
About
absolutely.
leadership, delegation.
Yep.
So I'm sure that that's something, when they learn that from you, they'll be able to turn everything off. So when I'm done with work and it's family time, but I need to stay in touch just in case of emergencies, or if I want to go on a walk and not be distracted by anything, but I still need to be contacted in case of emergency, I have my phone.
Right.
But other than that, like, hey, emails off, text off, notifications, like, I don't see them. And people now know that, and they know what to expect, and they know that, hey, if Rhett's not responding, it's because he probably didn't get the message. And if it's a great feeling.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. How does that affect, so two questions. One is, who is this for? Because you said that this is not for everybody. How does somebody know if this is for them, or if they can actually do it? And the second thing is, how do you feel about, because some people may say, man, I don't want to carry two phones on me. Right.
Right. Well, let me just say, to answer that last one, the inconvenience is the point. That's the point, the inconvenience. It is an inconvenience to carry two phones. And sometimes, sometimes I do, but it is an inconvenience. And so, I just choose one. Most of the time when I'm going around. But you know what? You don't have to carry this around with you wherever you go and wherever I go. I can leave, and again, if people don't reach me, like by email or I use Skype, with business a lot. If people don't reach me, then they know that, they'll just catch me. It's not that important. It's just not that important. The message is not that important. And again, if there's an emergency, they can call me. This is where I set my boundaries. And then, I'm sorry, Nana, what was that first? Do you remember the first thing that you mentioned?
No, it'll come back to me.
Okay. Okay.
So why do you think people are so addicted? I want to talk about this whole trap, the smartphone trap.
Well, gosh, the technology is great, right? I mean, we can't deny that. We can't deny that. We used to carry around or pick up and buy physical newspapers and magazines. Gone.
Right.
We used to carry, I mean, it has, I mean, let's talk about all the things. I mean, you used to have a Garmin GPS in your car, gone. It's on your phone,
Yeah.
a separate phone, camera, um, all in one. Other messaging, email. You don't have to carry a laptop. Email's right there. I mean, and the list goes on and on and on. So that's why it's addicting. And the other thing is, well, social media. It's designed to be addicting. I mean, they teach, there's a I don't remember the name of the class, but there's, I've read about it. There's a specific class taught by a specific professor for a while, and they really focused on how to make your app sticky so that people will stay on it longer. A lot of things that were designed, the social media apps and other apps, they were designed to keep you on longer. And these are and they prey on the addictive nature of human beings, and sometimes it's hard to know, like hard to see until you're finally addicted.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a psychologist, so I can't tell you the psychology and everything about addiction, but I mean, you could just tell, you could just see, right? I mean,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's one of those things, and I get affected just as much as anybody else. When your whole life is managed using your iPhone, right? Your calendar, your reminders, you're dictating your grocery list. You're dictating, some idea pops in your head. You can just dictate to, right? So it's the convenience of having the phone. It basically becomes your external hard drive, right? It's your buddy, right? AI.
It's a supercomputer.
Right.
It's a supercomputer. And yeah, it is great. I mean, I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to deny it. In fact, like I said, I still have one. But I put it in its place, right. And yeah, no, it's a great tool. It's a great tool. But, as with, we just have to know when to say when.
Yeah. I mean, and one of the ways I've learned to this, the low hanging fruit is to turn off notifications and alerts.
Yes.
I mean, at a minimum, those got to go, and all these different apps that you don't need, except for things like, if it's like an authenticator or some kind of productivity tool, like your calendar or something. What is the biggest misconception that people have about, say, using the Dumbphone as a lifestyle?
Wow. Some of the biggest misconceptions is that you're cut off from communication.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just argue that it enhances communication. I I don't think anything replaces just good back and forth vocal communication. We can I mean, this is actually Zoom is great because we can see each other and talk, and we can see verbal and nonverbal. We can have verbal and nonverbal communication through our body language. This is the next best thing to being in person. I think this is great. I think Zoom is amazing technology. But right after that is just having a phone call with somebody, when you can't get on a, when you can't get on a video call, a voice call. I think, after that, then it's text, and where a lot of things get lost in translation or miscommunicated. I think a lot of things are lost. There's a lot of communication not picked up where you can't get it's misconstrued, it's it's just not, it's not as well communicated as voice. And and so I think when we just kind of go down the line of the quality of communication, I just like to get on the phone in front of with people, or get in front of them face to face, or have a video call, or video chat like this. Text, I've never, I was a fan, but then I started not becoming such a fan of it. I mean, it has its benefits. You can be just real short and direct. So I'm not knocking it entirely. That's just so the just not having communication. I said it forces me into much richer communication. So that's a misconception that there's it's a downgrade in communication.
Yeah, because it's like, how did people communicate before the smartphone came into being, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what tips do you have for people who want to disconnect, right? Just what tips or advice do you have?
Oh man. Well, one, I think I mean, you'll know when you're just fed up with your smartphone and you want to just turn it into a smart device, right? Into a computer. You'll know. Well, some of the tips, try a 30-day challenge.
Okay.
Try 30 days.
Right.
See what it feels like. I guess what you could do is and I know that iPhone and I'm sure that the Android has an ability to back everything up, right? I mean, have you ever lost your phone, Nana? I mean, I've lost my phone before, and then right, you get another one from Apple, or maybe from Samsung or
I use
another.
Apple.
Yeah, and you could just download everything back in. It's like you never lost your phone before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can just completely erase make sure you've backed up to the iCloud for those who have an iPhone, and then completely reset your phone. Pick up maybe a prepaid phone for for 30 days. And I don't know if maybe this is a great question. I never thought about it as a tip for other people, but you could pick up either a prepaid phone or go with your carrier and see if, these are the great thing about flip phones too, is that, or these dumb phones, is they're a lot cheaper. In case you lose it, it's like $100 or less compared to $1,000. And then you're also not paying, you're paying less on monthly fees, because you're not, when you get an iPhone, they charge you for like data fees and all that stuff. So it's actually cheaper to have a dumb phone. But you can go with your carrier and just buy a phone, and you can just switch the number, so you don't have to do anything. Like, you don't have to tell people you have a new number. You can just have it moved over to the dumb phone or flip phone. But if you want to completely break off and for a while, and just give your number to those most important, and I guess shut your other phone off for a while. But I would say take a 30-day challenge for yourself. Reset your phone, so reset your iPhone, and you can, I know that some apps are only available through the smart devices and not like through, a desktop, but, see if you can live without it. And then what you can do is, after you reset your phone, you can completely rebuild back, being very, very intentional with the apps that you upload. And then you can like me, just have it as a Wi-Fi device. It's just a small computer. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I would love, I'm not a big fan of Apple and and these social media companies, all these big tech companies. So the less time I spend on their devices and their apps, the better I feel, because they don't have me in their grips.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's an interesting additional benefit.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Stick it to them.
There you go. I'm sure they're not going to be too happy. But anyways, is there like a support group? Because normally, it's difficult. There's the sometimes some people feel like it's a stigma, but that, in this case, it feels like maybe they're putting it on themselves, right? Is there like some kind of a place to hang out for people that want to, they're interested in doing it, but maybe they don't have the discipline to go through it?
Yeah, forever I didn't have a Facebook account. I just opened up a Facebook account. Deleted my Facebook account in 2010. So I started my digital minimalism pretty early, with some things. And then I recently opened one back up, but I did hire a social media manager to help like post some stuff that was on my mind, like, good stuff. Not rants or anything like that. But so I do have a Facebook account. I haven't like got into it. The great thing about being away is like I didn't like invest my life into a lot of these groups and connections, but I believe I'm pretty sure there might be a Facebook group out there. I don't know. There is a great book that I started listening to called Digital Minimalism. Let me see if I can find the author. Hey, you know what? Another thing that I still do use my iDevice. It's not a phone, iDevice.
Right. iDevice.
Is because I do love Audible and I do like to listen to books. And the author, so the book is Digital Minimalism. Sorry, let me just find this. It's by Cal Newport. So and they go through, he talks about different ways that people have minimized their digital use. And I believe that he had created a group. So anyway, there's a resource there, and I think it's a great book. It's a very popular book. If there are anybody that wants to kind of go this direction. I was thinking about writing a book, but
yes. Yeah, we're gonna try and push you and see if we can get you to do like like a I don't know, some kind of ebook or something, that's or a booklet or something.
One of these days, I'm gonna buy and read your book first, Nana.
Yeah, no pressure. Oh my word! So how do people get in contact with? Because obviously, maps and e-commerce and insert prints is something that you do. So we certainly appreciate you sharing that with us. I mean, this is a great topic. And I'm sure our listeners will get something out of it. And the productivity that comes from being disconnected is amazing. Mm-hmm. The presence that you have in the environment around you, the ability to spend quality time with your loved ones, being in control, the freedom that comes with it, all has been just really good benefits that you mentioned, not to mention the fact that you don't feel trapped inside the social media world and all those things that's going on. And
Well, I love entrepreneurs. So any entrepreneurs, I just love to talk to entrepreneurs. We're a different breed, and it can get lonely. So I love to speak to entrepreneurs. They can always reach me at Rhett at historicprints.com. And historicprints.com is my website. If anybody wants to look at my products and see some of the old maps that I have for sale, they're reproductions, but great quality, and photos are coming soon. But yeah, Red Historic Prints is how people can reach me. And and we do this. Why? Speaking of entrepreneurs, I mean, we do it because we want to be free, right? We want the freedom, and this is just part of my journey towards freedom and being in control of my life and not letting anyone or any company like Apple or Facebook, really get into my life and control me. So, I shoot for freedom, and entrepreneurs, reach out to me if you want to chat some more. And that's how they can reach me.
Yeah, we're gonna have your information in the show notes. So if people want to be able to follow up with you on that, they can certainly get your contact information in the show notes as well.
Yeah, I love talking to entrepreneurs.
Yeah. It's it's like meeting your tribesmen, right? It's like
that's right.
Yeah, you can empathize and all of that. So
it's not easy.
No,
but it's rewarding.
Yep, definitely. making a difference in this world. Well, thank you so much, Rhett. I mean, really appreciate your time. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun for me too. I like to, share my story, and I appreciate you, Nana, for letting me share my story.
Wonderful, my pleasure. So, well, listeners, that's it for this week. Don't forget to register for the free webinar on the 3 evergreen secrets to increase the value of your business without succumbing to market changes. You can go to the link posted in the show notes to register. I promise you wouldn't want to miss it. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.